Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now, guys? We had a little bit of a party in the Champions League for a couple of minutes, but again, it's turned into one of those campaigns where we get a humiliating defeat off of one of the European giants. I was really hopeful that we weren't going to have a result like that in this match. And, I was told we could dream. I was told we were going to go into the summer transfer window and strengthen the squad for the Champions League group stages, and we were going to give it our all. It was unfinished business. It was something that, as a club, we were striving and moving towards. And now, after 4 games, the formative part of the group stage is done. The die is cast. It is going to be seen as a failure. There is a slither of hope that we can get into third if we can beat Lazio away, and then in the final game do the business against Feyenoord. That is an absolute long shot, considering the fact that Scales, Palma and Maeda are all going to be suspended for the away game to Rome. So it's all attention back in Glasgow, back on SPFL action. We are welcoming Aberdeen into town, who are playing, Europa League, Europa Conference League, whatever it is, football on Thursday night, and the game is on Sunday. So it's going to be back to domestic action for us. In the video today, we're going to have a look at what we expect to see in the game versus Aberdeen, any kind of remnants of the Atletico Madrid game we want to discuss as we set off into an international break with a lot of questions around the squad, the standing of the transfer policy, and really, what is to be expected to be seen from Celtic for, the remainder of the season. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers, and we cannot do that without your support, guys. So if you enjoy the content here, hit the subscribe button for more, hit the like button, and get into the comment section and let me know what you think about the game at the weekend. I'm actually going to the game myself, and I'm doing a ticket giveaway on my Instagram at Quinny3001_. So if you're interested in getting a ticket for the game, make sure to give me a follow and check out all the competition details over there. And yeah, guys, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, this is the predicted 11 I'm going for the match. I would be very surprised if it was anything but this. At home to Aberdeen, I think we can expect Rodgers to try and go all-out attack, in the sense that that's the strategy I've seen from the manager whenever we get O'Reilly and Turnbull playing together. The idea is generally try and get them up close to the striker and try and get a lot of possession in the final third and try and create some shots and some scoring opportunities. I don't think Aberdeen are a team that we can expect to dominate. And this season, they've been very versatile. They've got a few kind of main formations that they're sticking to here, but depending on the opponent, they can be relatively versatile. And based on, when they play formations, like away to Rangers here, we see 5-4-1. Away to Motherwell, a similar formation. This is the sort of thing I would probably expect from Aberdeen, but because I expect that, it's probably what the Celtic management, etc., are probably going to expect. I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen more of this 3-5-2 Aberdeen, with Miovski, Duke and McGrath in that kind of attacking kind of triangle there. So either way you cut it, if they do bank in 5-4-1 like we've seen against Rangers and Motherwell, or if they did maybe just, maybe they will put 2 up there to give a bit of a press to, stop us building up with maybe quite as much ease. You could maybe see that kind of thing happening. In any case, I think we're going to get enough territory on the pitch. We're going to get into the Aberdeen half more often than not, and we have to be worried about transition. We have to be worried about turnover of the ball. And because I think this is the way we would expect the game to be laid out, O'Reilly, of course, is going to start, but I think we're going to see Turnbull also join him here, because I do think Rodgers is married to the idea of getting Turnbull close to the striker, getting him shooting from the edge of the box, and see if he can do anything in terms of any interlinking passing. And O'Reilly, as we know, one of his main strengths is in and around the box, going on and beyond, getting shots away, making assists, all that good stuff. The main alternative to this is probably at this moment Bernardo, given the fact that he started against Atletico Madrid. But honestly, I find him so frustrating every time I've watched him. He really struggles to play forward. Whenever we're building out from the back and he gets onto the ball in this kind of zone here, he always just plays this really direct, deliberate, forced backward pass. He never plays the ball forward. He never looks, if he does advance with the ball, he does progress from defence into midfield and get into this kind of zone here. He always just plays it and controls possession from there, and then looks to set off again, which is, if he gets the ball back and then does something and goes, advances past someone, then fantastic, but it never really amounts to anything. And that sort of style of play is much more what you would expect from a centre-back that's maybe transitioned, had to go past a man, roam into this area here, and then it's just, hey, this isn't my job anymore. Give it to a midfielder and then settle in and control defensively a position. I don't want to see the midfielder doing that. I want the midfielder going past somebody. I want the midfielder to be playing a ball into the channel. The best thing Bernardo's done so far is that ball he played out on the right-hand side for Decimate when he played it into O. Obviously, it was ruled out, and he's maybe played like 3 other passes I could think of across his 4 other, but he doesn't do it enough, so I don't think he's going to play this game for that reason. I think it is going to be Turnbull. And if we're playing against Aberdeen that are going to be setting out like this, very similar to a lot of other teams that we've had this season, some success against and other ones that we've struggled against, is great in shots away, is getting into the box, is actually going to be troubling the goalkeeper. And if they're going to be sitting with 5 at the back, 3 centre-backs, depending on how you want to think of it, I don't expect us to actually create that many chances in the match. And I think we are going to be relying upon key deliveries from wide areas and just shots from the edge of the box. Because link-up play, overlap and runs, give and goes to set up for cutbacks and tap-ins, I think Aberdeen are going to make it so crowded and so difficult to make that happen that they're going to want to just be ready for the ball to turn over, win possession, and then play into a channel and play some sort of counter-attack where they can go and try and get a shot away. The same way that we see St Mirren, every team in the SPFL, when they come to Parkhead, it's their primary strategy, this type of tactic. It's nothing new. But Aberdeen, of course, like I mentioned at the tip-off, one of the better opponents we see in the league, and are definitely going to be motivated to try and come and get something against us after being seemingly wounded against Atletico Madrid. But I think this is going to be a huge game. I've said it for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but honestly, Palma has delivered on a couple of occasions with some goals and stuff like that. So it's we've got to give the guy his due at every turn. He's improving every week. But again, against Atletico Madrid, didn't offer anything. So it shows you that the development is to a point so far. I think Aberdeen, it would be a big test, and this would be a big game. I would like to see him before the international break really show us that he's won the game, really show us that he's done something to make the points, to make the difference, rather than just dead ball, free ball delivery where he can shoot from out here or play a 3 cross from a dead ball situation. I want to see him influence the game in open play. Same with David Turnbull. He's given it the ears and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. If he's going to be scoring goals, not missing penalties, and continuing to get minutes, then I'm all behind him. But he needs to show more and build up. He needs to show more in terms of a willingness to link up with other players and progress forward, go by people, take players out the game. Because when it is going to be lined in 2 banks here, what we always envisage happen is the ball's going to get moved from side to side as we try and move around, make them shift from left to right and try and find a little gap and then play into the channel and then quickly play a wee 1-2 and then try and get a shot away, something like that. But that's the style of football that kills the clock for a dominant possession team. It's because if you don't get shots away, you're not going to get goals, and playing that style is not, we're not going to get that many shots away. So having Taylor, who's been coming in here very well and helping out as an overload kind of playmaker, has been great, but that really has to put the impetus on Turnbull to really get into the final third and be that second attacker, be that extra forward. And invite O'Reilly higher up the pitch as well to get involved around the edge of the box, because as much as Turnbull can be effective from around here, O'Reilly is fantastic at giving goal play and fantastic at link-up play, especially with Kyogo. And, he's not, O'Reilly's fantastically unselfish, a fantastic team player in that sense. And the more we can get him on the ball in these areas to decide, is he going to take a shot? Is he going to play a pass? Is he going to play a give and go with somebody else? I think he's the playmaker that we want in this position here. So the more often we can get him into that position by getting Turnbull probably higher up into the box itself alongside Kyogo. Maybe Kyogo drops in, gets a touch for give and goes, that kind of thing. Then that's what I'm really hoping for. Given the way that the European campaigns went, and given generally the way the domestic games go, I feel a lot of tension or a lot of frustration coming out of Dyson Maeda's game. He's not got that many goals so far this season, and it feels like every VAR decision, every 50-50 goes against him. The amount of people that should be booked for fouling Dyson Maeda this season is immensely long, and half of them got away with it the whole game, and he's so unlucky with a lot of the calls that go against him. So I would love to see a big game from Dyson as well, where again he's influencing the result and he's going at it, and he's always influential. We're always putting him on the ball, but I'd love to see, for his sake, like he gets a goal or 2, he gets really involved in this game, and a lot of the hard work that he's been putting in over the last couple of weeks, we start to see some of that. We get some of the points on the board, and he's been one of the guys that scored the goals. Now, there's a credible chance that O might start this game, along with Yang on the outside with Dyson, similar to what we've seen away to Ross County, because if we are going to be playing more balls into the box, then maybe we want to see O being up there, being able to challenge with the big centre-backs for knockdowns, for actual headers to get shots on target as well, and having Yang and Dyson be able to swap wings, go by a man and play balls into these kind of channels here. Especially if we do have midfielders overloading and getting involved as well. That could be a good route to go, but that brings me to basically one of the main things that, unfortunately, we couldn't really see against Atletico Madrid because we go down to 10 men. We started to see a little bit of a sniff at it, but I would have, I had no idea how we were going to line up against Atleti, and given the way the game went, especially in looking at it in hindsight and thinking about how this game could go and how the game against Lazio may or may not go, I would love to see us do something where maybe we play, instead of Turnbull, we play Kyogo and O from the beginning. Because I think when you've got Taylor coming in as an inverted fullback into this midfield position, O'Reilly can always be O'Reilly, even in a two-man midfield in this situation. And McGregor can kind of always be McGregor. Taylor can always do his thing. But by having Kyogo and O, you've just then got two out-and-out strikers. One that's going to do the, I never touch the ball except for if it's in the 12 yards zone. Like O, he can just do that, be a bit more physical, and give Kyogo a bit of space to actually drop into these little pockets, get on the ball, play a give and go, play the ball out wide, whatever, and then go and support the main striker, get into the back post, get in front of the goalkeeper, whatever it might be. And I think that could be a great evolution while we've not got Hatate in the squad and while we're really struggling to figure out who is the third midfielder, because between Turnbull, Bernardo, Holm, no one seems to be making that position quite their own just yet. And maybe you don't start Yang in that situation, you would start Palma to get a bit more delivery, and then you've got a bit more purpose for a delivery in there, because if O's not on it, you've got Kyogo not too far behind, and Dyson. That's a bit of overkill. That's kind of like having three strikers on the pitch with the artillery out here to supply, and then you've got O'Reilly for, overlapping and overloading, McGregor to grease the wheels, and then Taylor's in here, inverted fullback, covering the space, and you've got AJ doing his thing. The rest of the guys can cover themselves. So that would be an interesting development. I would love to see us attempt from the start in a match. Now, that might be a bit too gung-ho, a wee bit too ambitious to see, who knows. But I think with, like I said, just the kind of question marks we've got in the squad, that's something I would love to see. I'd like to have seen away to Atletico Madrid. I'd like to see away to Lazio. Who knows if we'll see it, at home to Aberdeen at the weekend. I'm really excited for the game because I do think we've got a really strong dressing room. I think we've got a really good squad overall. I'm really happy with the best 11 that we've got, but we're missing that little bit. And it might sound ridiculous to say, but we're not that far off being Champions League level. If you look at the group itself and every match we've played, we've not been that far off it really for 3 matches out the first 4, certainly. So it's just we're missing a little push over the edge. And Brendan Rodgers is his first season back in charge. If you think about the Champions League group stage opponents that we've got, Diego Simeone has been in charge of Atletico Madrid for like 10 years. Mauricio Sarri's in his 3rd season at Lazio. And Arne Slot has been at Feyenoord for about 4 or 5 seasons at this point as well. Had we been in this season in the 3rd or 4th, whatever it would have been, of Ange Ball, we might have been a little bit further ahead in terms of like coming into the group stage with a clear progression plan from the year before. Having a new manager, we're not starting all the way from zero, of course. We've kept a lot of the same team, but the style of play has totally changed, and there has been, some things moving around there. So I really don't think we're that far off it. And I do hold myself back from being overly critical, but there's some things that I just want to get off my chest while we're doing these videos and whenever we're talking about it, So I would like to see a good bounce back performance. I think the guys have got it in them, and a real convincing result against Aberdeen before we go into the international break, before we would come back and then get back into domestic stuff. Before that all or nothing game that we're going to have away in Rome playing Lazio, this could be a great springboard kind of result. And I'd love to see us doing something daring and something a little bit different that could help ignite that, rather than it's just the same team and, yeah, we get a good result, but the style of play didn't really change. The routes to goal didn't really develop any further, that kind of thing. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to check out that ticket giveaway competition I'm doing on my Instagram. If you're going to the game, travel safe, have fun, stay out of trouble. On screen there now is some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Hail, hail.